Good evening. Denny Lines. Look at that. Ohio. I'm doing my Rain Man thing now.
Yep. Lee, if you're watching, I got your ticket.
Hey, Brent. Dallas. Taiwan. Hopefully you get a chance to take a look at that video I did on the T91. Virginia. Bama. Tulsa.
Another one in the bin.
Montana.
There you go. There's the donor box link. If you guys are tuning in for the raffle, please don't kick the table. I will be taking ticket sales for a few more minutes because we're going to draw closer toward the end. We usually stay on until 9:30. So we'll be drawing sometime after 9 o'clock to give people time to pay their invoices because we've had a lot of last minute ticket sales. If you guys would like to buy a ticket, they're $20 each or 3 for $50. You can use the link that I just popped into the chat line, and you can go ahead and send it over and email me. Or just email me and tell me, and I'll send you an email or an invoice really quick. Yes, we're doing a raffle tonight. It is for the Ultimate AR Bundle. You're getting a copy of the Armalite AR-10 book from Collector Grade Publications. You're getting a copy of Black Rifle 1. You're getting a signed copy of Black Rifle 2. It's our last copy of Black Rifle 2. And you are also getting a signed copy of the Armor's Manual. So no corned beef and cabbage. No time.
Brajol and Rajut. Since St. Patrick was Italian anyways.
So these are our...
Hey, you Canucks out there, this is a Canadian box, eh?
I figured this was the most greatest way to pull a ticket from is a ammo box. I have blank tickets here on the desk. So if anybody wants to get in a last minute ticket, it goes to support the writing of Black Rifle 3. So like I said, you can email me. I'll also plug that into. There it is. You can email me if you'd like a ticket, a last minute ticket, or you can go ahead and use that donor box link and send $20 over for a ticket, and I'll make you up a ticket right here. But we're going to get into some questions and kick it off.
I want to start off by saying I had a conversation with Roy Hills over at Brownells today. I want to get an update on what's going on with the retro line. And he has said that they had discontinued complete rifles with the exception of the BRN 16A1, the XBRN 16E1, and the BRN XM177. The rest of them, with the exception really of the AR-10, will all be offered as parts. Of course, there's no parts available right now because all the manufacturers who are making these specialty parts for them are going crazy building their standard products and not the specialty type stuff. But they will continue to carry those and support those. Unfortunately, the BRN 10s are gone. I did ask him if he ever thought there was going to be a possibility of them bringing them back. He says he didn't know. He sort of doubted it just because of all the proprietary parts. So I was sort of sad to hear that.
Jake says I had to put my ticket in the freezer first and then fill around for it in the box. You guys have been bribing me all week. Please, I'll give you a few extra bucks if you pull my ticket. No, that's why we're pulling it on air. I didn't get dolled up for y'all, trust.
She's always dolled up. Southern Belle.
What's up with, oh wait. Never mind, that wasn't a question. What's your opinion on Kalashnikov USA Comrade 12? This is the AK-12 pistol firearm version of the full-length shotgun.
I haven't had a chance to take a look at anything from Kalashnikov USA. I put a couple of calls into them, and they haven't really returned them. I had messed around with some Segas years ago. The Sega that I messed around with was it was a Krebs. And it was interesting because it only liked full power loads. If you had any kind of burst or anything, it wouldn't cycle whatsoever. If you put double aught buck or slugs in it, it was reliable. Um, they're definitely interesting shotguns. But Kalashnikov USA it's just a company I have not had any luck getting them to get back to me.
Justin on Donor Box too, and the same goes for any other Q&A. If you guys would like to donate tonight, we're very much appreciate it.
Yes.
You can do it through Google. They do take 30% though, or you can use the Donor Box link that I popped in there, and you'll get priority over all the questions coming in. Jake wants to know. He says, "Thank you for all the videos. Recently purchased a G19X and noticed it was made in the USA. I was surprised by this. I was under the impression that Glock only produced G42s and G43s in the US. What other models do you know of that are made in the US? Any notable differences?"
No, all of them. It's really luck of the draw whether you get a Glock Austria or a Glock USA gun. Glock runs in batches. Certain times, certain months they'll do this, that. But it will be totally luck of the draw. Now, of course, all 42s and 43s have to be made in the U.S. because of the ATS point system for importation. But you will see Glock USA and Glock Austrian guns. There's no rhyme or reason. As far as quality is concerned, no difference whatsoever. All the machines come over from Austria. The materials aren't even bought here in the U.S. The materials all come from Austria as well. All the polymers, all the steels, all the bar stock. In fact, the machines in Glock factory here in the U.S. is on European current, electricity current, because those are Austrian machines. It's the same engineers who program them. There's no difference whatsoever. They're the exact same processes. I've been to Glock USA in the facility there.
Rawls, thank you so much for your donation on Donor Box. We appreciate it. We just wanted to say thank you for the quality.
Oh, thank you.
Shows. We appreciate that.
Aim low.
Carrie's in. See, Carrie, you got more than an elbow tonight. I'm kind of in there a little bit.
Carrie,
I got to do the raffle tonight, so I'm showing you a little bit more.
Carrie, I shared your the post you did on the XCR with Alex Robinson over at Robinson Arms, so he got a kick out of your post there.
Yeah, that was good timing. He texted me for a question, and we just happened to filming and made it a lot easier. That's the Yorkie.
It's one of the assault terriers.
You okay? All right. Building a 6-inch 300 blackout with a BA barrel, SLR adjustable block, and straight pistol gas tube. What is the best buffer and spring combo to run on such short rig?
Standard carbine, standard weight buffer. No tungsten weights. Just a standard carbine buffer.
Thoughts on the Hungarian FT18 imports?
Not familiar with that one yet.
Somebody said 4 thumbs down. Well, let's reverse it. Everybody hit the like button. I'm being offered bribes of wine trucks being come to Houston. How about a trip to Napa? No, I'm just kidding.
We have integrity here. This is not Washington. This is Texas. We have integrity.
What's the main thing to consider when building a Mark 12 clone, Brownells, BRL, and upper?
Probably the biggest thing with doing a Mark 12 clone is getting the proper barrel. It's probably getting harder to build precise clones these days, especially considering Knights only makes, well, at least last I knew anyways, they only made those particular hangars once a year for retro builders. Now, I know PRI does still make a very similar one to the Mod O. The hangar probably is the most difficult part. Of course, getting the proper 18-inch barrel. Quite frankly, if you want to get a real Mark 12, go to Centurion Arms, go to Monty LeClaire. He built and tell him you want a special operations one, and he will get you. He will have the whole setup with the proper handguards and the proper muzzle brake and everything on there for the Allen Engineering suppressor. And that's really what I did, and what I'll recommend you do. It's easier going to him and doing it. Now, of course, availability, I have no idea the way things are right now. It's unfortunately is a bad time to be doing much of anything.
Somebody said that all the thumbs down are pissed off Irishmen over Chris's lies about St. Patrick.
It is what it is. It's a pagan false holiday. It shouldn't be shamrocks. It should be Italian horns.
I should have posted this on Small Arm Solutions. I didn't get a chance to today. Maybe after I'm done with this, I'll go do that. I have a picture that popped up in my Facebook timeline of Chris wearing a Italy shirt in a parade that we were attending in New York. And I was like,
protesting.
freaking smart ass.
It's a lie.
You're really hostile about it, though.
That's the same thing with Alexander Graham Bell. That was bullshit, too.
Oh, here we go.
That was Antonio Meucci who invented the phone.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Any opinions on monolithic AR lower receivers, such as quality or durability?
Quality of monolithic lowers. I think you probably mean uppers. I think monolithic uppers are the best thing to do there is. You're getting everything you got with one shot. Stop your, the free float, all the real estate to mount your accessories, cooling, accuracy, full auto. In the case of LMT, being able to swap out barrels, calibers, operating systems. I prefer monolithic over trying to take a standard upper receiver and buy a rail for it and do all that. I do prefer if you want to spend the money to get a proper monolithic upper receiver.
Martin on DonorBox, thank you so much, Martin. He said, wanting to build a 72 clone, but with a mid-length gas system. Do I need M4 feed ramps for reliability? Also, do I need a non-F-mark front sight for use with an A1 upper?
Well, first off, we have to understand what the M4 feed ramps are for. Early days with the development of the M4, because of the shape of the M855 projectile, with the standard buffer and everything, they were having problems with the bullets. When they feed jabbing into the receiver extension, the barrel extension, or the locking lugs. So that was necessary. However, Colt then added the one tungsten weight to the barrel. That slowed down the bolt carrier enough to allow the spring of the magazine enough time to raise that roundup properly, and that problem went away. Colt kept both of them on the M4 because they wanted to show the government that this was a Colt program, that it was proprietary Colt done with their own funding. You don't need both. As long as you have one, you don't need the other. So as long as you have an H buffer in there with a standard weight barrel, you don't really need the feed ramps, or vice versa. If you had the feed ramps, you don't necessarily need the H buffer. So there was a second part to that question too. What was it?
There was a second part.
Yes, about the feed ramps.
Also, do I need a non-F-mark front sight for use with an A1 upper?
No, if you get the longer front sight base or front sight post, you don't need the F-mark front sight base. It's just there are most companies, up until more recently, none of them really used the F-mark front sight other than the U.S. Canada never did. They kept all that stuff. Interchangeable. Again, Colt changed that because they wanted to show changes that were made, so it wouldn't, the M4 wouldn't fall into a 1968 licensing agreement, so it could be its own family of weapons. You just have to make sure that you get the proper front sight post. It's just slightly longer.
Tad on DonorBox. He is very excited that he got his Glock 19X, courtesy of President Biden. That's his words.
Yep.
I'm thinking of swapping the sights as my first. First, I'm thinking of swapping the sights as my 19X did not come with night sights. What are your thoughts on the fiber optic sights with tritium?
I prefer the Ameriglow myself. Somebody is very needy Yorkie tonight.
You got to put him down.
I prefer the Ameriglows myself well over the the fiber optics. They're the nicest ones that I have. I have them on pretty much all mine. Fiber optics are certainly fine. It's just not my particular favorite. The Ameriglow Glock sights I particularly like. You can also get them in suppressor height.
And then he wants to know if you ever read for leisure, because I highly recommend this book by John Bosnecker, I think it is, about Frank Hammer, the Texas Ranger who took out Bonnie and Clyde.
No, I don't read too much other than technical manuals and things like that. Gun history books.
Yeah, he reads a lot of like collector grade books.
Yeah, I just spend a lot of time doing research and things like that. I don't really get a chance to read too much outside of the gun books.
If the bend in the gas tube is a weakness in full auto, why not have a straight tube as standard?
because it was the way it was designed. That was changed with the monolithic rail platform with LMT. You'll see some other companies have done it. It also has to do with the alignment of the gas tube hole in the upper receiver with the gas port or gas tube hole in the front sight base. Those were not straight. It wasn't until the introduction of the monolithic rail platform where they were able to change that, so you did have a straight shot from the carry key right to the front sight base, right to the gas block.
Okay, you guys have about 10 more minutes if you want a last minute ticket. You can email me at hbartacci@smallarmsolutions.com, or you can send your ticket over your however many you want. It's $20 for one and $50 for three over through donor box, and just let me know that it's for the tickets, and then I'll fill them out right here and it'll go in. Oh, Racer got his book bundle today.
Awesome.
Good. Is the bootleg AR-15 adjustable bolt carrier for real or a gimmick? Supposedly a substitute for an adjustable gas block.
No, it's for real. It's very nice. I actually know the company who makes them, and it's a very predominant company, which I'm not unfortunately at liberty to tell. I think it's a better one than the Gemtech due to the fact that it gives you 4 settings instead of 2. But no, it's not a gimmick. It's a very viable product.
Edward, I got your ticket order. I'm making up your ticket right now. My LWRCIC 16-inch 5.56 came with an H2 buffer and injects 8 different rounds in 5.56 223 from about 250 to 320. Theory by LWRC or just parts availability?
No, those are tuned for military grade ammunition. So the military grade ammunition is of course higher pressure in the way their piston systems work. So no, you will see a difference in injection patterns with 5.56 versus 223 with most guns because they're very different gas port pressures, and it speeds up and reduces your cyclic rate. Unfortunately, most 5.56 and 223 ammunition, none of it's the same. It's very, very the pressures are across the board. It's not like a military M16 where you have M855 ball, which has a specific specification to it, and you can make it run and you can tune it for that particular kind of ammunition. It's much more difficult doing this these commercial guns with all the different variations of ammunition that you guys want to run all the different kinds of ammo.
Michiko put in $20 for a ticket, or if not, for the PSA 74 loan.
William, that was totally unnecessary. Thank you very much. As I said, I only shot relatively few rounds through just because of I didn't have a lot of ammunition. Misha put a lot more rounds through that particular gun than I did because I had 2 different guns. So I'm curious to see what he's going to find when
ammo's hard to come by.
Oh God, yeah, I'm having a crisis with 9mm right now.
Michael Donor Box, thank you. Can you convince me on an EOTech red dot? They're big, ugly, with short battery life. Why get one over any other red dot?
Well, it's not a red dot; it's a holographic sight. It's an EOTech is different than say a aim point. There's a lot of different. You get a hologram instead of just a regular red dot. That's different with it. I guess I can't. I don't use. I use more electronic red dots. The SIGs. I got some from US Optics and everything. I haven't really used EOTech in quite some time. Most of my EOTechs are 10, 15 years old. I don't have any of the newer ones. I guess I can't talk you out of it. It's just different. It's not the same as a red dot. Holograms are going to take more battery life than a regular red dot. That's for sure. It just depends on really what you like. There are benefits of the EOTech, I guess, would be a much wider screen than you do on most standard red dots. Because you have a wider screen, you get better peripheral vision with it. Another guy wants some tickets.
Yeah, please send them through donor box. Google takes 30% of it, so that's great. But Google takes 30% of that. There's been a lot of questions about what's this SVD drama with Mac.
Drama?
No idea.
I've heard any drama with Mac.
SVD drama.
You guys got me on that one. I pretty much watch all of Mac stuff too. I mean, it's something new I haven't got a chance to see yet.
Anna wants to know, did the Taiwanese T65 rifle come out before or just around the same time as the Armalite AR-16, AR-18 design?
Oh, that would be long after. That would be after.
Somebody else said the military arms situation with the SVD is complicated.
No, I'm not familiar with it. Drama and Mac don't go together. I don't ever see drama with Mac, so I'm surprised to hear you guys say it.
What do you think about the Henry 22 rifles?
I don't think anything of them at all. I don't do anything with 22s. Last one time I did anything with 22 was a Glock 44, and before that was the Technical Solutions M4 22 upper that I have. I don't do much with 22s at all, let alone anything. When you say Henry, I'm thinking of bolt action or lever action rifles. Don't have anything. I don't really know too much about those. That's not my area of expertise.
Okay, here's some more of it. Steve on DonorBox wants to know thoughts on Mac scalping Hungarian SVDs on Gunbroker, despite making a video about denouncing scalpers last week, basically screwing AK forum guys that spent years with FEG to get SVD imported. Now people troll bidding to $10 million.
I have nothing to say. Don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, that's not really.
No, Mac's a friend of mine.
We're not a drama channel.
No, not at all.
You got to go somewhere else with that kind of stuff. We only know how to run small arm solutions.
Yeah.
We're not trying to, get involved in other people's channels. You got to go there for that.
Especially Tim. Tim has been very good at our channel as far as helping us, with getting our.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like, that's not even our business.
That's his business, But no, I don't. I know absolutely nothing about it.
What's your opinion of high point carbines?
I have absolutely none. I realize that you have to have lower manufacturers. I realize you have to have more affordable products. I used to see those come into the crime labs in both Wisconsin and in New York, and they were garbage. We had a lot of problems with them. It's a budget carbine, and you get what you pay for with them. They were cool because we knew a bullet when it came out of them, because the guy at High Point, he used an 8 right and an 8 left rifling, which was unique just to him and only to him. So we always knew if the bullet came out of a High Point, and same thing with the cartridge cases. He was good to forensics because he did an offset firing pin with a parallel breech face on it. So we always knew it was his because of the offset firing pin and the way the breech face looked, because he took a grinder to the breech face because the finish he put on was like a rubbery type. If he didn't grind the front of the breech face, the cartridge case wouldn't slide up it. So everyone was unique. But I don't think too much of those. I think I'll stick with my SIG, my MPX.
Dropping tickets in while I'm pulling questions. We did that one. Did I ask you what you think about the Henry 22 rifles?
Yes,
Okay.
That's my area.
Trying to find my spot here. Do you believe that the M&P pistol's reliability is on par with Glock and SIG? If not, why and what improvements can be made?
No. Smith & Wesson has never made it through a U.S. government trial. The M&P was involved in the XM17 and didn't even make it to the down select. The guns are not the same. They're not military grade. Though they're designed for law enforcement commercial use. They tend to do that well. But when you start putting them into the durability, environmental testing, and things like that, they don't hold up. They never have. Even going back to the 59 series for the XM9 program in 1985. How they could fix it? Stop copying Glock and make something new. It's their own. It's a lot easier to build something from scratch than it is to try to reverse engineer and then to try to change it so you don't violate patents. I'm not a Smith & Wesson fan for semi-mac pistols. Never have been. I do like their revolvers. I have a 29, a Dirty Harry 29, but their forte just has never been auto-loading pistols for as far as military grade guns.
What are you chewing on? Stop making so much noise. Dog's eating raffle tickets. No, I'm just kidding. What are you doing? He clearly needs attention.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on U.S. optics? Are they mid-tier or top tier in quality?
I would say top tier. I have a few of them. They're for the higher and for longer range. They are absolutely gorgeous. I have to say, I think they're very good, very well priced for what you're getting. You look at Swarovski, you look at some of the other really high-end Schmidt and Bender. I don't think any of those guys have anything on U.S. optics. I absolutely love them, and I think that they are more reasonably priced, and you're getting just as much as you are with a lot of those other ones. I've got one on a 338 Lapua, one on a 300 Win Mag, and U.S. Optics is now doing red dots. For RMR types for pistols, as well as red dots for carbines. You're going to see one of their new red dots coming up. I'm doing a video on the CZ Scorpion, and I'm going to have one of them on there. It's quite nice. So I definitely would highly recommend U.S. Optics. They make very nice equipment.
I don't know if you want to look at that.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about it. So.
Thank you, Sean. He just read it. That's what this world needs, is a gun drama channel.
Yeah.
We can start the first one. My thanks to all of you. They're not just the 25% of seen on the stream. Thank you, Otto. Are there any complete AR-15s that I should not waste my money on?
I guess that's probably the wrong question. Probably the better question is how much do you have to spend, and what are you, what you're looking for. You have certainly tiers. You have tiers of things that are good, not so good. You have medium range, and you have the top of the line. So I guess it more so depends on how much do you want to spend. There are some relatively inexpensive guns that are high quality. Palmetto State Armory, Aero Precision, maybe even Armalite, which are sort of the lower end of high. The American Tactical. There are some other ones that you probably would want to keep an eye out for. It's but unfortunately, really what it comes down to is that individual rifle. I mean, I've had bad guns come out of the top tier manufacturers, but a lot of it comes down to how much do you want to spend, and at this point, what you can get your hands on.
The grandfather clock announces his presence. Yeah, that grandfather clock drives me nuts when I'm trying to film.
I love that clock. Oh, I'm sorry. I see one here. What would Stoner do? I talked to Roy said this morning today about some things, and I asked Roy about getting a what would Stoner do rifle, and he told me he has no idea because they don't even have them in stock. So he does not know when he could get me one. So I did ask about it, and he says that they just don't have them yet.
Carrie says, a Real Housewives of Gun Owners. How much did you spend on ammo?
There you have it.
That's like a whole missed opportunity right there. I could start a whole wives club. It's like, he spent what? Ways to know that your husband has snuck in another new gun. That's what we're dealing with right now, because it's his birthday coming up next month. And I had already bought him something because it wasn't anything he said he wanted. And then I'd already spent all this money on something. And then he was like, well, there's this gun I want. And I was like, oh,
I've got a CZ Scorpion here that I was able to get. And it's a really good, they gave me a really good price on it. I want to SBR it. and it's an import.
Yeah, well, then he was like, well, so then the gift, and then he was like, hey, can I have this money for a tax stamp? And I was like, yeah, sure. Because I do all the finances and stuff. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. And then
she says yes and no.
I'm just going to sit over here and drink my drink.
Yeah, and I decided I wanted the Scorpion. I got a nice black one.
So then I was like, no. Then I was like, get the gun, and maybe we'll just wait on the tax stamp. And he was like, no, I need the gun and the tax stamp.
Takes time.
I was like, shit. Trust me, he'll get all of it, I'm sure. Because I legitimately want him to have everything, and that's why I got frustrated today, because I was like, I want you to have all that you want. I don't think I'm a horrible wife. Look at this crap behind. Look what I do for a living. I was a paralegal. Now look what I do. I put raffle tickets in buckets and photographs guns.
Do a hell of a job at it too. Here's a question I'm looking at right now that I want to go after.
Okay, which one?
Is that LMT came from PacWest Arms? PacWest Arms was manufactured by LMT prior to LMT producing their own firearms. LMT was a machine shop to start off with, making firearms components. So as you'll see, Milan, Illinois, which is LMT. So those were LMT parts prior to them making their own, coming up with their own complete rifles.
What are your thoughts on a 357 SIG AR 10.5-inch barrel built on an LMT lower?
Say that again.
What are your thoughts on a 357 SIG AR 10.5-inch barrel built on an LMT lower?
Oh, you're looking like a pistol in 357 SIG. That's an awesome caliber. Unfortunately, it never took on. Reliability, because it was a bottleneck cartridge case, made the thing stellar for reliability. The ballistics were very close to that of the 125 grain 357 Magnum. It was an excellent round. It just never took on. Putting that in a longer barrel with the propellant, I think it'd be awesome. It'd certainly beat the hell out of any 9mm carbine. I'm quite fond of the caliber. I never bought any 357 SIG guns. I do have conversion barrels for both my Glock 22 and my SIG 229. I do enjoy shooting it, but I never really bought a dedicated gun chambered in it.
Okay, are you ready?
Yep. Heather's going to do the honors.
That's a lot of pressure.
So you can do it on here so everybody can see.
I'm mixing it up.
Misha, start giving the colonel stomach pains.
Okay, y'all ready? Carrie says drum roll. Carrie, you didn't even enter.
He's probably got all the books.
A lot of people have all the books, but you know what? Okay, I got one. Okay, I'm not going to be able to say his name. I don't want to show anybody's email address on here. I know that other people said that they don't want it. Jonathan Gribeniuk.
That's it. Gribeniuk.
I will.
I hope I didn't butcher your name.
Let's see if I can show it on there. There he is.
So he is our lucky winner.
He is our lucky winner.
Thank everybody who put it in, who helped us with this. It was very great for us.
Yes,
thank you very much.
And Jonathan, I'll be sending you an email. I wonder if he's on.
I don't know.
Some of these guys have different names when they're on here too. If he's not in the Tron other.
Unfortunately, we never put anything in there that said you had to be present for.
I know. No, I said
winning.
That you didn't have to be present. Nicholas on Daughterbox, thank you. You said thanks again for sharing your knowledge and expertise. Do you have any recommendations regarding internal upgrades for a brand new PTR 91? Unfortunately, California is pretty strict on external stuff.
PTR 91, I can't think of anything to upgrade that unless you wanted to put a different kind of a rail on it. I mean, I've got one. I have one of those, and quite frankly, I brought it back to the original HK91 style because obviously I have size Sasquatch hands, so I prefer the wider handguard. The other thing that I did too is, for some reason, because I like the nostalgic end of it, I didn't like the polymer pistol grip, so I ended up going with the original stamped uh, pistol grip to put it on there.
So Jonathan is from Georgia, and I just pulled up his email, and he bought one ticket. So congratulations,
That's right.
Jonathan. That was $20 well spent.
Yes, it was. Like I said, we're honest here.
Jason says he's drinking out of a Whataburger commemorative Yeti cup. I'm gonna have to get Chris one of those.
Yeah. She got me this awesome shirt. It said "What a Texan" on it, and it had the Whataburger symbol.
See, I was trying to let you feel like authentic.
Yes, because again, she's the only one that tells me that I'm not true Texan still.
Is there any way a CZP-07 with a round in the chamber could fire without pulling the trigger?
Which one?
Is there any way a CZP-07 with a round in the chamber could fire without pulling the trigger?
Guns don't go off by themselves. As simple as that. Some of them, if they're defective, if they're dropped potentially. If I recall correctly, that gun has a firing pin block in it. So unless the trigger is pulled all the way to the rear, it will not disengage the firing pin block. So I really don't see it going off accidentally. Strange things happen. Hell, we had a case in Rochester where a guy had a Colt. It was a 1991 Commander. He went in for an MRI, and he was a cop. Didn't take it out of his holster, and brought his clothes in with him. And as soon as they turned the thing on, the thing magnetized. The thing smashed up against the MRI machine, and all we can figure is the magnetic force was so much that it even disengaged the firing pin block, and it set the thing off because it was a Series 80. I mean, I've seen some real strange shit over the years that you just never would figure out. But I can tell you, 99 times out of 100, when somebody claims a gun went off by itself, it wasn't. It was what we refer to as operator headspace error. Guns just don't go off by themselves. It's an extremely rare condition if they ever do, and it's always caused by something dropped. You're not just going to set a gun someplace and it's going to go off by itself. It just doesn't work that way.
Somebody was saying that I need to pull another name in case he doesn't respond. Trust me, he's going to respond. And he already gave me his address. So, a few people like Jim Sullivan, Clint Smith, and a few others have stated that the AR-10 and the AR-308s in the market are less reliable than the AR-15. To your knowledge, is there a reason for this?
The only thing that would make them less reliable would be the differences in the ammunition. If you have the rifle and you have the ammunition, you can adjust the gas ports and the springs to that particular round. That's a really good question because the reality is I'm not aware of any 308s that have ever been put through. AR-10s that have been put through the kind of testing that the AR-15 has. The M16's been a military weapon for many, many years. There's never been an AR-10 that was considered and went through the same kind of testing. It's at least in my experience, that's sort of uncharted territory. When you look at the guns, there's no reason why one should be better than the other than the AR-10 has not had the millions and millions of dollars put into it to refine it as an assault rifle. I think that it's like anything else. If you want a rifle that's going to do that, you have to get the rifle, you put it through its paces, and then you see where the weak links are and you go after it. I know Carlos he spent significant amounts of money on his 308, and the gun works beautifully, full automatic. It purrs like a kitten. But I'm just not aware of the kind of testing that's been done on the AR-10s like the AR-15s to give that kind of information. Even the original AR-10 made by Armalite, it went through what the factory put it through, but when it came time for real world, well, they basically sabotaged it to begin with. You get Mr. Putnam Evans' book on the AR-10. It will give you the details on that. It'll tell you about how those tests were bad with using high pressure ammunition that was rejected and so forth. So no, yeah, it's. It's invested in it to prove it or disprove it.
What's the difference between parkerized barrels and nitride and 4-barrel, and which is better?
This is a sort of a slippery slope because you got people on both sides. Well, let's just say this: military specifications require manganese phosphate chrome-plated barrels. I have yet to see any military contracts that accept nitride barrels. Nitride barrels, I don't believe, are as good as chrome-plated barrels for as far as the longevity. The nitriding, if it's not done properly, the center of the metal can be too brittle or too soft. It's not as reliable as the manganese phosphate and chrome. For as far as its durability, I have yet to see a test that compares a nitride barrel right next to a chrome plated to see which ones last longer and so forth. Um, Myself, I would always prefer a chrome plated hammer forged barrel if it's available to me. The rifles that I have that have nitride barrels, I've had no problems with them. They work well. I haven't put them through military type testing to see how they hold up over the long haul. But I do know how the chrome-plated barrels perform. Multiple tests in my career in various countries doing destruction testing and so forth on them. So far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, is I would, if I had the opportunity, I would much rather have a chrome-plated, hammer-forged manganese phosphate barrel.
Does the 18.5 barrel Tavor X95 have better accuracy than the 16-inch barrel?
The Tavor is not what you would call a precision rifle. If you were to compare a Tavor, which I have on a couple occasions, to a standard LMT MRP, MRP will shoot rings around the Tavor. The Tavor is not, in my experience, as accurate as some of the other military rifles that are out there. It certainly is good, but longer range M16s, M4s are certainly better. And quite frankly, the barrel length will give you some longer range, but I don't think it's going to give you that much more accuracy at that longer range. Sort of like an RPK versus AK-47. The bullet will go faster or farther, but it's not necessarily going to go where you aim it. I don't think they would make a difference in accuracy. The bullet's performance at longer ranges will give you a little bit more, but accuracy, no.
Somebody said that you're definitely not a Texan and you need to embrace being a Yankee.
Block him. You can disagree with me, but you can't insult me. That's a troll.
I bought an FN Scar 17S, still waiting for it. I keep hearing people saying conflicting things about what ammo I should use. What is your response?
I have a Scar 17. Don't use it all that much. I have other 308s I like better. I don't know what anybody would be saying other than just don't put wolf in it. Give it good. If you're going to go out and spend $3,000 for a rifle, put good ammunition through it. If you stick with with an M80 ball or a brass case full metal jacket, and quite frankly, with those rifles, you're probably even better off going with more of a match load, because that's what you're paying all that money for, is to have something that's going to be a little bit more accurate. My rifle, the only thing it's ever seen is Black Hills 168 and 175 grain OTMs. I do believe I put some XM80 through it at one point, very, very little. Again, if you're going to spend that kind of money for a rifle, give it good ammo. Don't give it the cheap wolf shit, because you're also going to have issues potentially with port pressures on those. That's a heavy ass bolt carrier group on that thing. If you have a low port pressure, it's going to cause you a short stroke.
Will Black Rifle 2 or 3 ever be available for Kindle? I hope so. That's the short answer. There's a lot that's going to go into making all of those things happen. That's a goal of mine. So
right now I'm trying to get some contacts together, because the first part that I'm working on is going to be the SCAR program and the individual carbine, and trying to find people who can talk or are willing to talk. That's my first hit into it right now.
Kevin on DonorBox. Thank you, Kevin. Most of the government-funded technical information on firearms topics are ITAR regulated. What are some of your favorite technical and engineering resources that are available to the public on firearms topics, either the classics or recent publications?
ITAR is a very interesting thing, because there's a little thing called internet knowledge or in the public domain. With U.S. military manuals, they will say approved for public release or not. So what you can and can't share. It's a very, very slippery slope. And for those of us in the industry, it can be relatively dangerous because you can have the government come after you. ITAR affects people like me from doing contract work because even though I'm me, I have firearms knowledge that was gained in this country. And if I go over to a foreign government and assist them with weapons programs or repair or whatever, that information can fall under ITAR. Now, many people will tell you ITAR is a money grab to get licenses because licenses cost money. But when I would go overseas, I had to be very, very careful what I would assist. For instance, working for Colt, if a customer bought, say, 200 M4s like the Chilean government did, I could go over there and anything that was the operator's manual, I was good to go. If they wanted an armor's course, then we had to apply for a license through the State Department, and they could or couldn't. We had with one Middle Eastern customer who they got the approval to buy the rifles, but then when we put in for the license to do the training, it was denied. So we sold people rifles. We couldn't teach them how to repair. It's a very, very slippery slope on what information can go out and what can't. I hope that answers your question.
Matt, you seriously gotta lighten up. He's playing around.
What?
Nothing. You don't want to know. Have a Guinness.
I was joking about
chill out.
I was joking about
relax.
The Texas thing. Anybody who knows me and her going back and forth,
okay.
She always constantly tells me I'm a Yankee. She won't ever give me any credit for being a Texan. I was joking. I was not serious.
Somebody also said that you're a still case hater. Still case ammo.
No, not if it's going in an AK or an SKS or a AK-74 or a Dragunov or a PKM machine gun. Those guns are designed for it.
So hopefully everybody liked the new crime series video that came out. What do we have coming up? I can't even remember what we just filmed.
We have one. It's an update on the Bushmaster. We have one on the SIG RXP full size. There's some other ones too. Well, I can't remember. I know I've got some stuff set up.
Once I start editing it.
Yeah, I got several things that are set up right now. We're going to be having, of course, the XCRM. We're going to be having a Glock 17 Gen 5 decked out with suppressor and all that good stuff. We're going to be having the Springfield Hellcat. We're going to be having the SIG P365, 365 SAS, and a couple comparison videos. We have the ATI Bulldog shotgun.
This guy said you said in one of your videos that it would be wise to put $1.25 in quarters in your buffer tube. And he wants to know if you should really do that.
No, what that's done is for the 9mm. What that does is it doesn't allow the buffer to go back far enough, so it closes up that gap in between the front of the bolt and the bolt catch, so you don't get the acceleration of the bolt smacking into the bolt catch and breaking it. That's what that was for. It's not for anything other than the 9mm.
Yeah, you want to talk about he's trying to stir problems right there. Texas got humbled by that weather, that's for sure. He's trying to get me going on that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
we don't that weather doesn't happen down here. It's like living in Southeast Asia and getting a snowstorm. It's just not something that you
living in a hut.
Yeah, it's just not something that you deal with.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole. You're not going to bait me on that one. Could you clarify that even with the Springco or Colt 5 coal extractor spring that you'd still use the O-ring?
Yes. The O-ring is basically just pictured as the Geico, your insurance on your extractor. It increases by a factor of 4 if your spring was to fail, or your black bumper that's inside there. It is extra insurance. Is it absolutely necessary? No. Is it advisable? Yes. especially in any kind of carbine. Anything where you're having a higher rate of fire, higher cyclic rate as your gun wears, and you get a higher cyclic rate, it becomes even more important.
Matt says buy a few rounds. I love you guys. Thank you, Matt.
That'll give me three. That'll give me 3 rounds these days. God, give me the correct cost of ammo these days.
That's what I always hear too when he's going on the range. Like, I can't, because we also do have, that's one that's coming up too, because I told him that we need to film part 3 of the mag series.
Yeah, we're putting that one together now.
So yeah, I mean, he wanted to take some of those out and test fire them, and he's just like, I
don't have the ammo.
Don't have the ammo for it, and the price of it is just so high.
Yeah, and I've been trying to find 9mm ammunition, and it's just absolutely impossible. That's the one where I'm really coming in short right now.
Did that GT27 crime gun blow gas back into your face when you tested it? I shot one recently, and it was like sand blowing back on me.
I don't recall. My son shot it too. I mean, he didn't say anything either. If you hold it out far enough, I can't really see anything happening, but I didn't notice it.
My transferable M16 lower has a worn out takedown hole. What's a better fix? A 250 takedown pin or a welded bushing?
I probably would go with a bushing. I wouldn't want to put any kind of a torch or anything to risk damaging that lower receiver because of the cost. Before, when I was working at Colt, if a full auto receiver was to fail, a transferable one, Colt would make you a new one with that serial number on it and destroy the old one. And then for some reason, General Keys changed his mind and didn't allow it anymore. So basically, if you had a rifle blow up with that lower receiver, you were just screwed. I don't own any transferables, of course. Those are freaking outrageous. It's almost scary to even have to think of having one of those and firing, because if something was to go wrong with it and something was to happen to it, you've just lost a $30,000 investment. So that's a tough one these days.
I was told by a veteran that during the Vietnam War, soap and water was an approved cleaning method for a barrel.
We're good on guns that were corrosive. He used corrosive ammunition. I don't think I would put them in an M60 or an M16, but if you had an AK or you had something where you're using corrosive ammunition, that was certainly viable. Most of the time in Vietnam, you saw big drums full of oil that they would stick the guns in and the parts and everything and clean them out, more solvent and so forth. I've seen people use cooking oil as a lubricant. I've seen people use motor oil. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you do when you're in a pinch. It depends on what you have available to you.
Oh, thank you, James. He says on DonorBox, he just says thanks for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you very much. There's something else I want to tell you that we're going to be doing some changes pretty soon. People have said that my range footage is generally boring.
It is boring. So
I've gotten in contact with a couple of companies. We're going to be getting a couple of portable steel targets. So we're going to be putting steel targets down at the 100-yard range. We're going to get a close-up pistol one, and we're going to be getting a range camera that's going to be able to show, so you guys will be able to hear pinging when the bullets hit, so you actually know that I'm hitting something. So we hope to be implementing that within the next month or so. So that'll be something we're going to be adding.
So always looking to upgrade and make better. It's expensive running a channel. It really is.
Especially when YouTube doesn't like us.
Especially when YouTube doesn't like you. Yeah, that's a lot. What are some good 9mm pistol hosts for a dead air Odessa?
Say that again?
What are some good 9mm pistol hosts for a dead air Odessa?
God, anything as long as it takes a surround suppressor. I mean, a can's a can. I mean, you don't see as much of an issue with pistol cans as you do rifle cans. Rifle cans tend to increase back pressure. Some increase it more than others. Pistols, you don't see it as much.
Would be nice to see the groups more often during the range footage.
I try to get the best group I have and show a photograph of that, which is what I try to do. The range I have sometimes is right next to a bayou. So there are times where you shoot 100-yard targets, and there's no way I want to go through alligators and water moccasins to get a target.
Our son through it.
So that happens on occasion.
yeah, Rocco, our son goes out there and he does it. He's not really excited about these new targets.
I would not be sending him out with the water moccasins and their alligators.
I think you would. I think he'd be like,
But
you know what?
he's going to have to carry that heavy
Come on, son, buck
steel
up.
target down 100 yards.
Yeah, he's not.
He ain't going to be happy about that.
I guess it breaks down in 3 pieces, and he's like,
Yeah.
seriously, 100 yards. And he's like, so I have to do it 3 times.
Even the
He's
stand
like,
is armor
technically, you're
plated.
going to do it 6.
The stand's armor plated too.
I think our son just got a pay increase.
Mm.
Abraham on Donor Box, thank you. He says, love the crime series. What are your thoughts on the BRN 180, 16-inch or 18-inch?
I have a 16. I have 2 videos. I have one on the original BRN 180. It talks about the history of the AR-18, AR-180. Then I have one on the Gen 2. I would highly recommend you go check out the 2 of those. So you will get very my detailed thoughts on that. Quite frankly, I don't see much of a benefit of going with the 18. The rifle is not what you call stellar accuracy. It's certainly good enough for a military rifle, but it does not shoot as well as a decent AR-15.
Sean, I'll show him that email you just sent me. I'm sure he'll find that interesting.
Man does get I was joking, right?
No, he does.
I just want to make sure.
No, he does. Do you have a video on different types of AR-15 barrels and the difference of them?
No. I generally, as I talk about guns, I'll talk about, if there's a difference in the barrel. And quite frankly, you don't have a lot of differences. Again, you have the nitride, you have the stainless steel, then you have the military grade chromoly vanadium, then you have hammer forged versus button rifling. There really isn't a lot. A difference is really mostly finishes.
I see we have over 300 people in there, guys. You got to hit the like button. Thank you. I know you have some experience and feelings on FN's 5.7 by 28 guns. Do you have any experience with HK's solution, the 4.6 by 30 MP7?
I have seen them in the wild. I saw some guards having them, and some King of Dolls guards in Jordan carrying them in holsters. I have never been able to fire one. There are very few of those that ever got into the country. So I'm not as familiar with the 4.6 personally. When I was doing my training in the crime lab in Wisconsin, I was collecting different kinds of armor-piercing ammunition, and I contacted HK. I had to get a letter on the crime lab letterhead with the request so they could just send me a few rounds for my reference. So I've not shot that. You are going to see a video on the 5.7 by 28 in the new Ruger 57. Which is nice. I'll just tell you that I think that Ruger did a hell of a lot nicer of a job than FN did on their pistol. The trigger is slightly better on the FN, but the overall gun, the feel, the recoil, the accuracy, I like the Ruger much better.
This is why you should buy your son a Taurus Judge to blow up the snakes that come near him.
He'd take off his foot. I'd be too worried. It is seriously when we have
Chris
flooding.
With his son is seriously, it's like a big brother situation. They just like mess with each other constantly. And so I could just see him be like, okay, so Rocco, I'm going to need you to go out in that water. Yeah. I dropped a bullet. Yeah. I need you to go find it.
My range, though, seriously, it's right on a bayou. When we had the big hurricane, they had to come out for several days and shoot snakes because the snakes were on top of the shooting benches because they tried to find high ground. They were all over the place. And of course, there's alligators out there, freaking mosquitoes the size of hawks. As I said, when it's wet down there, I am not going after targets. I'll look at them in a spotting scope and say this is probably about what the distance is. But on bad weather like that, no way in hell.
Kevin on Donor Box, thank you. He says gas block set screws and locking components always fail. What is your favorite jig to align the datums for the front sight base and the gas port hole when drilling and reaming for taper pins in non-factory setting? We use dedicated fixtures at work for the production runs, but it's difficult to handle all the different variants when doing custom gunsmithing work.
I don't have a machine shop here to do those kinds of things. I generally buy them that way. There are some companies that make ones that you put on with the set screws to make sure everything's aligned properly. Then it gives you a nice sized hole where you can use a hand drill, let you screw it up. But for the most part, you do have to find jigs. There have been jigs that I know Brownells has sold. I know a lot of people make their own jigs. That's something that you want to have a qualified gunsmith or even a machinist do. Because again, if you drill those off, you get a canted front sight base or a canted gas tube or gas port on the gas block, and that'll cut off your gas and cause you problems. You're sniping.
If you, a little bit. If you have a chance to improve the M16, oh, it went away. Okay, if you have a chance to improve the M16A4, what would you do?
Well, I definitely would give it a better bolt. I would go with a cold hammer forged barrel, like an FN barrel or a Demaco barrel. Those are two of the things that I would do to it. I probably would use an MB, the lower receiver. I probably would use a handguard like the Centurion Arms C4, giving it a free float barrel, rather than use the RAS system, which is basically a heat sink. Those are probably things that I would do to it.
Thank you, Clark. He says, love your channel. It's my number one go-to. My question, have you ever had any experience with the 6-hour DAK double action Kellerman trigger system?
Yeah, I've actually had quite a bit of. In fact, when I went to the armor school, we did those. They were a nice trigger. They were designed for law enforcement agencies who just weren't comfortable going to like a Glock, and they wanted something that was in the middle between double action and single action, and it served that just like the HK LEM trigger did. I'm not sure, how there was a time when they were only selling those to law enforcement. I don't know if they sell them commercially. They may. It's not something that I ever, I don't care for it. I wouldn't want it on a gun of mine. But I certainly saw what the benefits for it was and who would want it.
No, Walters, it's not open desert all over Texas. You're thinking about the other side of Texas. We live in what it's referred to as the Bayou City.
That's right. We have humidity.
And there's a reason for that. Because if a hurricane comes, it becomes a bayou.
Hot and humid.
Guardian says, thanks for showing the XCR some love. It sounds like y'all live near me. I'm up in Conroe. Any good range suggestions? It seems we can't shoot out in open land here. Would like to practice reloads and such. We are not up in Conroe.
No.
And I don't know if Chris, have you been to any ranges up?
No.
In the Conroe area? No.
I've only the one that I go to is it. That's the only one.
Yeah. I mean, the goal is at one point to live. Well, first of all, we've outgrown, this house with our business. Not even, it's comfortable for our kids, but not for our business.
Yeah, we're so scrunched up.
So he's really scrunched up in here, and it'd be great to have a little range in the back that he could shoot. Although I could see neighbors complaining because he'd be out there every day, like all day, like shooting. We have a range though that's really close to here, and you can and you can hear them shooting at like 11 o'clock at night, and I won't even notice it. And he'd be like, somebody's shooting, and I'll be like, and then he notices, and a lot of times I don't even notice it, but they're out there shooting like late. Adnan on DonorBox, thank you, Adnan. He says, for large military ammunition plants that are similar to LCAAP, Lake City Army Ammunition Plant, could they also mass produce high quality hollow point ammunition that is similar to commercial self-defense type of rounds instead of the typical standard issue full metal jacket rounds like the M855? Since purchasing the Black Hills Mark 262 Mod 1 line of ammo would be too costly and hard to produce for the entire U.S. military.
Lake City could put whatever projectile that they want in it, but Lake City is owned by the U.S. government. So they only can manufacture for U.S. government for military sales. So yeah, I mean they could replace any bullet and use any propellant they want. But when you look at the special operations ammunition, special operations like Black Hills makes their Mark 262 in-house. They do purchase from Lake City U.S. military 5.56 prime brass. That's why you'll see a lot of Lake City brass used by Black Hills. They purchase it from them for use with military contracts and overruns. But it's even though it's run by other companies. For instance, right now it's run by I believe it's run by Winchester again. There's a ATK. I think it's Winchester now. I think ATK just lost it, but that's only for U.S. military ordnance.
Well, guys, I think we're going to shut it down for tonight. Thank you to everybody who entered the raffle and supported Black Rifle 3.
Thank you so much.
Trying to get some photography lighting. And we appreciate you. And we appreciate you showing up tonight and spending your St. Patrick's Day night with us. And
go have some Via Rosa and celebrate.
Well, wouldn't they have like Guinnesses?
No. St. Patrick was Italian, red wine.
All right.
Maybe some limoncello.
Maybe some limoncello. All right. Good night.
Good night. Thanks.